All right, my friends, it's podcast time. It's podcast time, and today we're talking about how to improve performance. And I know that that might sound like a very general type of question or a very general type of discussion, and it is, if I'm honest. So we're going to get into the show very quickly. A reminder for you all before we get into it, the goal of this show is to help athletes build their dream careers in sport. And we do that through talking about mindset stuff, talking about performance in the sport, talking about things you can do to better plan your week, to get more out of your training, about training itself. And today we are talking specifically about how to improve performance in sport. So we're going to get into it right away. So buckle up. We're going to go in 3, 2, and 1. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Elite Development Podcast, the #1 show for athletes looking to gain an edge on their opponents and build their dream careers in sport. I am your host, Kenny Dusseault, and today we're talking about how to improve performance. Now, that might sound like a very general term, and that's because it is. And the reason that we're talking about this is because over the last month or so, my social media has 7x'd in following, which is fucking awesome. So every new person that's followed me, every person that's been following me for a while, just know I greatly appreciate all of you. But with that massive growth in social media has come a lot of people asking me questions about training, a lot of people that are, wanting to learn new things, which is also awesome. And that has led to the question that we are answering today. One of the most common questions I've been getting over the last month is, hey, coach, how do I improve performance? And you could not get more broad. So we're going to break that down today. And we're going to break down what you need to start doing in order to improve your performance in the sport. And the first thing, guys, is when you ask that question, there is literally no good way to answer it. Because, first of all, when you're asking that question as a first message, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you're working towards. I don't know what sport you compete in yet. I don't know how to improve your performance without having a conversation with you. So if you want to improve your performance, the first thing you need to do is get clear. The first thing you need to do is understand what that actually means to you. So first thing, what sport are you competing in? MMA, boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, whatever it might be, what sport are you competing in? The reason that's important is because the performance in different sports is going to be different. There's going to be a lot of similarities, but it's going to be different. And so second, once you have the sport that you're competing in, you need to get clear on what you are actually working towards. Now, the reason what you're working towards is important too is because what kind of level are we trying to get to here? How specific, how intense, what have you been doing so far that you've been working on? So by knowing what you're actually working towards, that's going to give me an idea of where you're at. And if I know where you're at, then there's going to be a better chance that I can actually answer that question for you. So get clear on what you're working towards, get clear on what you want. Third, what have you been doing so far? This is what I've been doing to train so far. Actually, before we get to what you've been doing so far, third, what are you struggling with? Because, hey, coach, how do I improve my performance? If I don't know what's going wrong with your performance, how am I supposed to give advice on that? It just doesn't work. So then once you know what you're struggling with, and you can send that message and you can say, hey, I've been struggling with insert 1, 2, 3 things here, and this is what I've been trying to do to improve it. Any thought on what I can do beyond that? Now I'm going, okay, the athlete's working towards this. They've tried this. They've tried this. None of that has worked. This is the struggle they have, and this is what they're trying to fix. That gives me a lot more clarity. That gives me a lot more understanding what we're working with here, right? So the first thing we need to do if you want to improve performance, the first thing you need to do is understand what that actually means to you, understand what sport you are actually training for, and communicate that to the person who you're asking the question to. Now, beyond this, guys, I'm going to give you an answer that a lot of you are not going to want to hear. The best way that you can improve performance is not some magical exercise that any coach on the internet can give you and say, hey, go off and do this. And then all of a sudden you'll be phenomenal at everything. Even every video that I post on social media where I'm talking about, improving a certain area of your game, you're not just going to do one circuit and be a legendary MMA fighter. It's going to take brutal years of hard work and consistency over a very, very, very long period of time to reach that kind of level, right? But a lot of people want that magic. So all of those videos that I'm posting, all those things that I'm talking about, those are giving you tools. Those are helping you understand how to train smarter to implement that into the brutal consistency over years and years and years of hard work that it's going to take to reach the goals that you want to reach. And so when you want to improve performance, when you want to improve in your sport, when you want to reach a new level, it's not going to be a magic exercise. It's not going to be, switch out your 3-mile run for a 4-mile run, or make sure that your 5 miles is under 37 minutes, or make sure that you're, squatting 1.5 times your body weight, or make sure that every workout you do is thoroughly exhausting. Like, those are not the answers. That's not how you're going to achieve those goals. The way that you're going to do it is continuing to improve over time. The way that you are going to best improve your performance the fastest is by whatever you're doing right now, continually trying to tweak it and improve it over time. One of the other comments that I get a lot, which always makes me laugh, is people talking about how they don't like when coaches are super science-based, which, by the way, is fucking ludicrous, because understanding the science of how training works is how we improve the training. That's how you get better results. But on the surface, playing devil's advocate, I understand the sentiment, because people can get too sciencey, where it's like, okay, it has to be done under absolute perfect condition with your heart rate at the absolute optimal perfect number. And then if you take 2 minutes of rest, that's going to be good, but 2 minutes and 8 seconds of rest is going to be too much. Like, there gets some things that just get crazy, and you spend so much time trying to make it perfect that you just don't get it done. But the thing about, needing to be science-based, like, this is how you improve. So take whatever you're doing right now and look for one tweak that you can make, one slight improvement that you can make on what you're doing right now that's going to lead you to a higher level. And then continue to do that. Right? Trying to drastically overhaul your training, or trying to train 8 hours a day, or trying to do any of these crazy fucking methods that I keep hearing about is not the path to success. The path to success is figure out what you can do consistently in your week and do it. And then figure out one way that you can make it better. Not one way that you can make it harder, one way that you can make better results in the time that you're spending, and then tweak it, and then tweak it again, and then tweak it again. And guys, the final point, this is going to be a nice quick episode, and this is another point about improving your performance in your sport that you are likely not going to want to hear. The final point that you need to hear and you need to understand is that if you want to improve your performance in sport, you need to hire a fucking coach. Sports science is complicated. Training is complicated. The ins and outs of understanding how to do this better are complicated. I've been doing this for 15 years, and there is still so much I don't know. There is still so much improvement that I need to make. And I'm being transparent about that. And if any coach isn't transparent about that, they're fucking lying to you, and you should run away very, very quickly. But you're not going to figure it out on your own. Or you might, but it might take you 10 years instead of spending a couple $100 a month hiring somebody that can help you figure it out in 10 weeks, right? I understand you want to save the money. I understand you don't want to spend whatever a month on a coach. I understand you think you can't spend the money because everything's tight right now. But if you truly want to improve your performance in the sport, if you truly want better strength and conditioning, you're not just going to magically figure it out by throwing in one new session, throwing in one new exercise, changing one little thing. And you're not just going to magically figure out what it takes coaches years and years and years to develop overnight. It's not going to happen. So if you want to truly remove the guesswork, if you want to truly know that what you're doing is actually benefiting you, find a coach. Find someone who does this for a living. Find someone who understands how to help you do this better and pay them money. I understand that paying them money is a difficult thing when money's tight. But guys, you know what's way more difficult than paying someone a couple $100s a month to help you understand your training and get the best results that you can? Being 40 years old, looking back at your career where you didn't pay that money and going, shit, I could have been so much better if I had had better conditioning. I could have been so much better if I had a better coach. I could have been so much better if I didn't hurt myself with those dumbass training methods that I was trying on my own. And I had just invested into someone who knew what they were talking about. And guys, I do not say that from a point of superiority. I was the same way. I was a power lifter for a long time, and I didn't want to pay anybody money to help me out. Here and there, I spent a little bit of money on some mentors and some coaches, but for the most part, I did my own training. And that went really, really well for me for a really short period of time. 3 or 4 years, I broke 8 national records, won a couple of national level competitions, and then I fell off. And when I say I fell off fucking hard. I went from winning a national championship to then tearing multiple muscles in my back, to then coming back from those multiple muscle tears to tear that same muscle again, to then come back from that and never actually be able to compete again. So if you don't want that to be you, if you want to actually have the long, high-level career that you're after, hire a fucking coach. Pay the money, make the investment, get uncomfortable, understand that if you want to reach high levels, you need a team around you, and you trying to figure out your own training just ain't it. And the reason that's not it is because there are other people that are at your level that have someone on their team taking care of this stuff for them. So they're going to get massively better results in way less time than you are, which means they're going to get further along than you. I understand it's uncomfortable. I understand it's tough. But a quick recap, if you want to truly improve your performance in your sport, understand what you're working for, understand where your performance is currently struggling, and be clear on what you've done to actually try to improve that before. And finally, invest the money, invest the time, pay the coach, because the coach is going to be able to help you achieve the goals that you're looking for. So guys, I appreciate you. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. I hope you got some value from this. If you did, I would love to know what it is. And as always, I will catch you on the next episode.